Welcome to the Tech Life Well podcast. We're delighted to have you with us.
Where we make technology simple, thoughtful, and useful. For more insights and episodes, visit techlifewell.com.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Monday, January 26, 2026. Now, usually Mondays are for catching up on emails, doom scrolling, you know the drill. But if you've been glued to the headlines this morning, you might have seen a pretty massive declaration drop from Axios.
It is a hard one to miss, and honestly, it's the kind of headline that just stops you in your tracks.
The headline is that OpenAI has officially declared its intention to become a scientific research partner. And look, I have to be honest with you, and with everyone listening. When I first saw that, my eyes kind of glazed over a little bit.
I get that.
Because for the last few years, we've all been riding this hype train, right?
Yeah.
We've got used to AI, writing our emails, maybe debugging some sloppy Python code.
Oh, right, the productivity stuff, the front office tasks.
Exactly. It's been a very sophisticated secretary. Yeah. But today feels different. It feels like we're pivoting from AI as an assistant to AI as a scientist.
That is exactly the shift we need to unpack today. If 2023 through 2025 was all about the front office, communication, logistics, summarizing meetings, then 2026 is shaping up to be about the lab bench.
The lab bench.
We are talking about discovery, and this isn't just about ChatGPT getting a little wittier. We are looking at a stack of research here. Papers from Nature, reports from the U.S. Department of Energy, new data from Google DeepMind and isomorphic labs that suggests we are entering a totally new era.
And the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We aren't just talking about chatbots. We want to understand what it actually looks like when an AI discovers a new material.
Or solves a math problem that has stumped humans for decades.
Well, it literally runs a physical experiment with robots.
Because that is happening now. It's no longer theoretical.
It is. So let's start with this news from today to set the stage. OpenAI saying they want to be a research partner. What does that actually mean in practice? Because when I hear partner, I think of someone who helps me brainstorm, not just a tool I type commands into.
Well, according to the sources, specifically those internal strategy docs covered by Axios and OpenAI's own blueprint for U.S. AI infrastructure, this is fundamentally about access.
Okay.
For a long time, the most powerful AI models, what we call frontier AI, were, locked inside the big tech companies.
Right, behind the API curtain, you had to pay the toll or work there to see the good stuff.
Exactly. But OpenAI is pushing for a policy shift. They want to treat AI, compute, and data access almost like national infrastructure. Think about it like the power grid or the interstate highway system.
So instead of just building roads for commercial cars like apps and chatbots, they want to build, digital high-speed rail for data so university researchers can access these massive brains.
Precisely. They are deepening their collaboration with the U.S. Department of Energy. And this isn't just about commercial products anymore. It's about giving scientists the raw horsepower they need to run simulations that were previously just impossible.
And the distinction you made earlier is key here. You mentioned the difference between AI for communication versus AI for discovery.
Yes. This is crucial. Most of us use AI to synthesize information that already exists, summarize this report, or write me a draft. That's communication.
Right.
But discovery is different. Discovery is about generating a hypothesis that no human has thought of yet. It's about looking at a blank space in scientific knowledge and saying, I think there's something there.
That sounds almost creative. We usually think of science as rigid facts, but you need that spark to even know where to look.
It is creative. And to do that, you need more than just a chatbot that predicts the next word. You need systems that understand the laws of physics, the rules of chemistry, and the deep logic of mathematics.
Okay, let's get tangible.
Oh.
Because discovery is a big word. You mentioned chemistry. I'm looking at this report from Nature and the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab about something called GNoME.
GNoME, Graph Networks for Materials Exploration.
It sounds like a lawn ornament, but the numbers here are absolutely insane. We're talking about deep learning predicting millions of crystal structures.
This is a perfect example of that discovery phase we just talked about. So traditionally, finding a new material, say, for a better battery or a more efficient solar panel, is an Edison-style process. It is trial and error.
You mix some stuff in a beaker, heat it up, and see if it explodes or actually conducts electricity.
Essentially, yes. It's slow, it's expensive, and you fail a lot. But Google DeepMind used GNoME to predict the stability of materials computationally. They didn't just find a few. They added nearly 400,000 new stable compounds to the materials project.
400,000. 1,000. That number is hard to wrap my head around.
To put that in perspective, that massive influx of data expanded the known database significantly. It represents roughly 800 years worth of knowledge discovery if we were moving at the previous human pace.
800 years.
It's like suddenly discovering a new continent on a map that you thought was completely filled in.
I love the analogy that popped up in the reading, the materials telescope.
It's a great visual, yeah.
Because the AI isn't building the battery, right? It's not in the factory manufacturing the final product.
No, not at all. But it's acting like a telescope. It's scanning the entire universe of chemical possibilities, which is just mind-bogglingly huge, and pointing the scientists to a specific coordinate. It says, hey, look right here. There's a high probability that a stable crystal structure exists in this spot.
Exactly. It narrows the search space. Instead of searching the whole ocean, you're searching a pond. And that acceleration is what allows human scientists to focus their energy on the synthesis and testing rather than just the guessing.
That's the aha moment for me. It's not replacing the scientist, it's giving the scientist a treasure map.
A treasure map generated by deep learning. And what's fascinating here is that this pattern using AI to predict structure isn't just happening in rocks and crystals, it's happening in our own bodies.
Which brings us to AlphaFold. Now, we've covered AlphaFold in the past when it cracked the protein folding code, which was a huge deal. But the source material mentions AlphaFold 3. How is this different? Is it just faster? Or is it doing something fundamentally new? It's not just speed, it's scope. AlphaFold 2 was brilliant at predicting the shape of proteins. But biology isn't just proteins floating in a void, isolated from everything else.
Right.
Biology is messy. It's a mosh pit.
A cellular mosh pit? I like that.
Exactly. Proteins are bumping into DNA, binding with drugs, interacting with ions. AlphaFold 3 predicts these biomolecular complexes. It creates a model of how a protein interacts with nucleic acids, small molecules, even modified residues.
So it's the social network of the cell, not just the individual profiles.
That's a fantastic way to put it, yes.
Why does that matter for the average person listening? I mean, it sounds cool, but what does it change?
It changes medicine because that interaction is where life happens, and more importantly, where healing happens. When you take a drug, you are essentially introducing a small molecule into your body and hoping it binds to a specific protein to stop a disease.
Okay.
AlphaFold 3 allows researchers to predict that binding with incredible accuracy.
So instead of testing 1 million drug candidates in a wet lab to see if they stick, you can simulate the binding digitally.
You can filter them digitally. It uses a diffusion-based architecture. It's actually similar to how image generators like Midjourney work to refine the structure from sort of a cloud of noise into a sharp, accurate 3D model. It compresses years of structural biology work into these fast cycles of predict, test, refine.
That sounds incredible, but I have to play devil's advocate here. We all know AI hallucinates. It makes things up. I've had it invent book titles that don't exist. If it hallucinates a chemical structure or a biological interaction, isn't that dangerous? How do we trust it?
That is the billion-dollar question. If we want AI to be a real scientist, it can't just sound right. It has to be right.
Provably right.
Exactly. And this is where we see a divergence from the chatbots. We are seeing the rise of what's called formal verification.
Okay, let's unpack that, because formal verification sounds like something I'd need a lawyer for.
It's actually purely mathematical. So DeepMind has been working on systems like AlphaProof and AlphaGeometry 2. And in July 2024, they achieved a silver medal standard at the International Mathematical Olympiad.
The IMO. That's the hardest high school math competition in the world, right?
It is brutally difficult. These are problems that stomp brilliant human mathematicians. And the AI solved 4 out of 6 problems, scoring 28 out of 42 points.
That is wild. But going back to my skepticism, how do we know it didn't just guess or memorize a similar problem from the internet?
Because of the way it was built, they used something called FunSearch.
FunSearch.
It stands for searching in the function space. But here is the cool part. It pairs a large language model, the creative, hallucinations-prone part, with an evaluator or a program search.
Okay, so a writer and an editor?
More like a writer and a ruthless fact-checker.
Yeah.
The LLM generates code or a solution. That's the creative spark. It says, hey, maybe the answer looks like this. Then a separate deterministic system runs that code or checks the proof to see if it actually works mathematically.
So it runs the math.
It executes it. If it fails, the fact-checker discards it immediately. If it works, it's fed back in to teach the model.
So it's self-correcting.
It filters out the hallucinations. This very system found better heuristics for the bin packing problem, which is a classic efficiency problem in computer science. It moves AI from plausible text generation to verified truth.
I like that distinction, moving from sounding smart to being correct. But all of this, math, protein folding, crystal prediction, it's all happening inside a computer. At some point, science has to touch the real world. You have to pour the chemicals. You have to risk the explosion.
And that is the final frontier we are seeing emerge in this stack, the self-driving lab.
This sounds like science fiction.
It feels like it. Sources 10, 11, and 12 in our stack describe this in detail. Imagine a laboratory where the instruments, the pipettes, the heaters, the mixers are all robotic.
Okay, I'm picturing robot arms.
And controlling those arms isn't a human standing there with a clipboard, it's an AI.
So the AI designs the experiment?
A robot runs the experiment.
And the AI analyzes the result.
And then, this is the kicker. The AI decides what to do next based on that result. It closes the loop.
So it's autonomous discovery.
It's a closed-loop system. I mean, think about the efficiency. A human researcher might be able to run, say, 20 experiments a week if they work really hard and don't sleep much. A self-driving lab can run hundreds.
That is a massive scale-up. It's industrializing the scientific method.
It is, but we have to be realistic here. The sources, particularly the reviews in Nature, point out that this is really, really hard to build.
Why? I mean, if we have the robots and the code, what's the holdup?
Data and messy reality. Robots are fussy. If a liquid is slightly too viscous or a powder clumps up because of humidity, the robot might fail. The AI needs clean data to learn, and real-world chemistry is dirty.
So it's not just plug and play.
No, not at all. It requires standardized equipment, incredibly robust safety constraints, and a lot of engineering. It's a vision of the future that is emerging, but it's unevenly distributed. It's mostly in top-tier research institutes right now, like Berkeley or Toronto.
So let's recap. We have materials telescopes finding new crystals, biology simulators predicting drug interactions, math geniuses verifying their own work, and robot scientists running labs. It feels like we should have cured all diseases by now. I mean, it's January 2026. Why aren't we living in a utopia yet?
That is the necessary reality check. If you look at the headlines from this month, January 2026, the hype meets the friction of the real world.
What's the bad news?
Well, not bad necessarily, but sobering. Reuters reported just last week that Isomorphic Labs, that's the drug discovery spinoff backed by Google, delayed its clinical trial timelines.
Oh, so the AI designed the drugs.
But biology is still biology. Clinical trials are incredibly complex. Just because an AI predicts a molecule will work in a simulation doesn't mean it won't have unforeseen side effects in a complex human body.
So AI isn't a magic wand that skips the FDA.
Far from it. In fact, another Reuters report from today notes that most drug makers are currently using AI not for the sexy discovery part, but to speed up trials and regulatory submissions.
Paperwork.
Logistics, writing reports, organizing patient data. It's valuable, it speeds things up, but it's not the computer invents cure headline that people are hoping for.
That makes sense. It's the boring efficiency gains that often happen first. But there's also a safety angle here, right? If we have autonomous labs, what happens if the AI decides to make something nasty?
That is a critical concern. The U.S. AI Safety Institute and NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, have been signing agreements to research exactly this. Because in science, an error isn't just a typo.
Right. If ChatGPT writes a bad poem, nobody gets hurt.
But if a chemical synthesis AI hallucinates a reaction temperature or creates a compound that is toxic or explosive, the consequences are physical.
It raises the stakes significantly.
It does. We are handing over the keys to the physical world, and that requires a level of safety engineering that goes way beyond content moderation filters. We aren't just filtering out bad words, we have to filter out dangerous molecules.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone from OpenAI's ambition to be a partner, to the materials telescope finding crystals, to the biology revolution with AlphaFold, and finally to the robot labs. It seems like the theme here is that AI is graduating.
It is. It's graduating from the liberal arts language, writing, image generation, to the hard sciences. It's moving from a tool that talks to a tool that does and verifies.
And that shift from chatting to doing seems like the defining story of 2026.
I think so. It's the year AI gets its hands dirty, figuratively and literally.
So here is the question I want to leave you with, and it's something I've been thinking about while we talked. If the AI generates the hypothesis,
right,
and the AI designs the experiment,
yep,
and the robot runs the experiment,
and analyzes the data,
Then what is the role of the human scientist?
That is the question.
Are we becoming the conductors of the orchestra rather than the musicians, just waving the baton while the machines play the notes?
Yeah.
Or are we becoming the janitors who just make sure the robots stay plugged in?
I like to think we become the architects. We define the why. The AI figures out the how. But it's a fascinating world we are stepping into.
It certainly is, and we'll be watching it closely. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.